Hello, I'm Jack Rickard. This is Electric Vehicle Television. I'm here with Michael Pottery and Consigliere of Breno Noto and Sommelier.
Hey, yes, we get to do our famous sommelier segment. We haven't done that in a while.
Well, that started a little history. Brian was studying for some tests to be a sommelier. It's just a matter of getting through the gates. But I suggested that we actually learn something about wine. And so for Fridays for a year.
Yeah, for about a year, yeah.
We each brought a wine and a story and talked about it and then learned a little bit about 2 bottles of wine a week for a year.
Yes.
That's 104 bottles. Brian calculated how long it would take us to drink through all the wine in the world. And we consulted the actuarial charts and decided this probably wasn't a happening thing.
That's right. Right.
We should have started 20 years earlier.
That's right. We should have started a little earlier. Yeah, that's right.
And so, what do we got here, big guy?
Well, we actually got a present from Michael Brown in Thailand. I guess a IBMer out there. Hey, to all the IBM alumni. This is from Paso Robles up in Northern California, a little south of Monterey, San Luis Obispo area, inland. They were really Zinfandel, believe it or not. That was really their big grape for years and years. And then later, maybe in the 80s or so, they really became kind of famous for Syrah, which is what we have. We have a Rhone Valley variety. Mm-hmm. They also do some whites, some Viogniers, and things like that. And then they make some real odd blends now. So they're kind of a real creative playground of some really interesting grapes. But we opened their Syrah today. I didn't see what year it is. 2012. Mm-hmm. And it tastes very, very nice. It's got a lot of berry, some spice. And then you pointed out it was a little hot.
It's got some bite. I don't think of Monterey or Paso Robles as being one of my favorite areas. Obviously Napa is but Sonoma and north up to Hellsberg and so forth is kind of a comer. But according to Michael Brown, who lives in Taiwan, he had worked for IBM.
Oh, Taiwan, okay.
And he worked for a solar installation company for a while. And had an unfortunate change of life, lost his life partner.
Oh, boy.
And so he sold everything off and put his EV in storage.
Really?
And moved to Thailand.
Thailand, okay.
And
wow.
I had a little girl come in this week who was about 4 foot tall, and she said she was a missionary, and she was fundraising. And so she opened up this satchel full of plastic jewelry, really. And and there was a rosary in there that I immediately took a shine to, any shiny bauble. and she was so charming, a little sing-song voice, Thailand.
Oh, okay.
And she was a missionary.
Okay.
I guess come to convert. I said to convert us to Buddhism.
Convert us to Buddhism, exactly.
No, she's a missionary, a fundraiser, and she had a rosary. And so I said, okay, I'll take the rosary. How much is it? She said, well, it's $30. I said, well, that looks like a $20 rosary to me. And she says, okay, $25. It's just you have to live in Thailand to get this. And so she said, thank you. And I said, thank you. And I said, really, this morning I kind of had a dream that an angel was going to come offer me a rosary today. She said, really? You had a premonition of this? I said, yeah, but it was a lot taller angel. Because she's only like 4 foot tall. And just like that, as quick as a bat, she comes back and she says, I had the same thing. This morning I had a vision. I was going to sell a rosary to an angel, but it was going to be much thinner. anyway, I don't know how I got off on that.
That's okay. It worked.
Michael Brown
Yeah, he did a great job.
is in Thailand, and you kind of have to be over there to get parts of that story. But in any event, he was touting Paso Robles as being a contender. They're fighting back. They want to take on Napa.
Yeah, I think they make some. I think make some
Well,
nice
things
wines.
changed. When was the last time we were out there wine hunting?
Right. It's been a while. It's been a few years.
Yeah, several years. So who knows? This is actually quite good.
It really is. Yeah, it's a really good wine.
He said he liked the wine.
Yeah.
This is real berry. I kind of learned on young California wines. So good French wines, for example, are a little lost on me. They taste flabby because they're not stemmy. They don't have enough tannic structure to be what I started out with.
What you started out, exactly, yeah.
And so if it doesn't have some tannin in it, I'm like, sissy wine, it's girl wine. I can't drink that. And this one's actually got a little bite.
Yeah,
it's what's the alcohol percentage here?
16%.
16%. That's pretty stout for a red wine.
That's really high. Really, really high.
It's quite high.
Yeah.
And then I like, of course, I smoke Turkish cigarettes.
A little smoke.
I like a little smoke in my wine, and that is basically oak aging is where that comes from. And what these guys are like throwing the whole barnyard in there, huh?
Yeah, they were
Hungarian,
which you usually don't see a lot, and French and
I've
US.
dabbled in the Hungarian with the whiskey.
With the whiskey, yeah, nice.
And I like the American better, but they're using American barrels, French and Hungarian, 15 months.
Yeah.
That's serious winemaking. The cost of the barrels is dwarfs the cost of the berries.
Yeah, the barrels are high.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Crimey, what are they now?
They must be $900 for a barrel. Yeah.
It's out of hand. So good oak aged for a Syrah. They don't even normally. Do they do a lot of oak in Syrahs?
Yeah, they do. I mean, in the Northern Rhone, they do. I mean, it's such a heavy grape. Yeah, it takes well to oak aging.
This has come out fabulously. This is a 2-year-old wine. I love it.
Yeah, really nice.
Mike, you know what you're talking about.
That's right. Thank you.
But he couldn't crack my UQM bite.
No. Well, gave it a shot, huh?
Hey, those IBM guys, they're a little overrated. So that's our wine. We've got a Cabernet Sauvignon. I don't know why, from Paso Robles, but this Graveyard is the company. He recommends the wine highly. I concur.
Yeah, it's great wine.
It's actually pretty good.
Yeah,
it's actually quite good.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of a crabby old winemaker.
And we're happy.
Let's do some news.
All right. Talk about some electric vehicles.
A little bit. Well, I like numbers because it gives me context.
Yes.
We throw around all these numbers in the midst of what? This is U.S. Auto, and it's done by a research firm called IHS Automotive. Okay. They are claiming that right now we have 252,700,000 licensed and operating automobiles in the United States.
Wow.
What's notable about that was 11.5 million were scrapped in the last year. This is since July 2013, released June 2014. 14.2 million sold, 11.5 million went to the scrapyard. That's a net gain of 3.7 million, and it's the first since 2005.
Oh, well.
And 252,700,000.
So does that portend a good thing for the economy?
I would take that as a positive for the economy. They kind of cast it as Americans aren't scrapping, they're holding on to their cars longer.
Yeah, what did they say? Isn't the average car now like 10 and a half years old or 11 years old?
No, it's over 11.
11 years old, yeah.
11.7 years old.
Yeah.
And so that was in last week's news, 11.7.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
And that's up a little bit. So Americans are retaining their cars longer, but sales are pretty strong at 14.
That sounds really strong.
83 million worldwide.
Wow.
It's a lot of cars.
It is.
Car business.
This week that we may add a couple of more electric vehicles. VW is saying that they actually have a press release of the Golf E being produced. So we may even have some more vehicles.
They're trying to prove disprove my press release thing by actually producing an electric vehicle?
Well, that's at least what.
I'm from Missouri. You got to show me.
Well, I think that they were, didn't they? Kind of show it being manufactured, but we haven't seen one.
Show me.
bitte.
So gut kann sich ein Abschied anfühlen. Der E-Golf. 100% elektrisch. Der E-Golf. Das E-Auto.
Okay, you sure that's not just staged?
I mean, it could be. I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, you know, we look at
release video.
Yeah, look at Pixar. I mean,
trick photography,
yeah,
smoke and mirror. Pixar,
yes,
might
have done it.
Might be computer generated.
That's right. It might be computer generated.
I'd say the jury's still out, but that looks pretty persuasive. They can do some amazing things with 3D.
With
now
3D and big computers. That's right. Yes,
the rendering farms are pretty.
Yeah, they're pretty intense.
They're pretty amazing.
Let's see. We did have a meeting this week with the BMW and Tesla executives to discuss electric cars.
Imagine that.
Yes. They want to talk about electric
BMW went to Palo Alto?
BMW and Palo, yeah, they met, well,
Wednesday?
Press release is Frankfurt, but they were talking. I can't tell where they were. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, BMW is talking to Tesla.
That's kind of interesting. If you recall, 6 or 8 months ago, I predicted that eventually these car companies have to kind of kiss the ring on the charging network. There isn't another way. I wouldn't characterize that this way entirely, but I'll take the victory.
There you go. Why not? Just a clear victory.
What's going on there? It's a very interesting dynamic. Tesla and the domestic car companies are it's just chaos with the dealers trying to block them even selling cars here, and dinosaurs thrashing in the tar sands. Not quite so in Europe. And I would offer the following. Mercedes-Benz is rolling out their very Leaf-looking like, to me, Model B electric.
Yeah, we showed them, that's right, a few weeks ago. Yeah, the Model B.
Now, you understand that drivetrain, battery system, and so forth are from Tesla. Daimler, Mercedes-Benz, also has the Smart ED.
Yes.
And that, too, is Tesla technology. They derive income from providing that to Daimler. Daimler provides a lot of the internal switches, knobs, and stuff for the Tesla Model S.
Oh, really? Okay.
And actually, Daimler owns 4.7% of Tesla.
That is true, yes.
And had some kind of option until last July for even more.
Oh, okay.
It was pretty serious. I never did hear that they pulled the
Whether
trigger
they
on
exercise
that.
it or not, yeah.
So I don't know what's going on there, but there's a pretty serious relationship between Tesla and Mercedes extant. Now, Tesla is installing supercharger stations along the Autobahn in Germany.
That's the place to put Tesla supercharge stations, yeah.
In
On the Autobahn.
Native American parlance, this is called counting coup.
Yeah, that's right.
This is not where you injure your enemy. You go deposit things next to his campfire, touch his horse, just to prove that you could have killed
That's
him.
right. You could have, that's right. You don't have to.
So the EU, as you saw or heard in my kind of hilarious take on Nikki Gordon Broomfield's broomsticks landing at Normandy on D-Day last
week.
The EU is a little bit confused about charging right now.
They are.
They have a variety of plugs. They have the Tesla at-home charger is kind of limited to 22 kilowatts, as it turns out, in some countries.
Oh.
Because of the standardized plug. That's the only legal one you can put in your garage.
Oh, that makes sense, yeah.
And
Yeah.
then they have CHAdeMO, which is to be outlawed by 2018. But as the majority of fast charge stations in Europe are CHAdeMO, and as Miss Broomstick discovered, most of them don't work.
They don't work, yeah.
Net, Europe is in chaos on charging.
Yes. Yeah, right now they are.
It's just in
Yeah.
chaos. Here comes Tesla putting up fast charging stations for Model S along the Autobahn. What is somebody named Bavarian Motor Works
Yes, that's
supposed
right.
to do with that? crap?
That's right, along the Autobahn, yes. Yeah,
So
what do you do?
they're in Palo Alto 2 days ago on Wednesday to butt heads with Elon and make parley.
There you go. Make some parlay.
Well, not a bad idea.
No, not bad at all.
And their option being part of the SAE Combo Klutz Plug Club,
Yes,
which has not a single station in all of Europe.
it doesn't make any sense.
What? Yeah, what's this about?
Yeah.
What did I tell you 6 months ago? This is actually kind of important stuff. Not to me. I don't take an electric car on the road.
Yeah.
And I own a Model S. It's been out of town once. And that was coming from St. Louis.
From
where I
St.
picked
Louis
it
when
up.
we drove it back.
And it worked fine. No, I've been over to Kentucky Lake. on
That's
it.
right, that's right. You did go to Kentucky.
90 miles.
Yeah.
I had 90 miles back, and
Yeah.
it worked fine.
Yeah, that's right.
But I didn't charge.
No, didn't have to.
And
No.
didn't have to. It's
No.
got sufficient range. Let me break track here and try to weave this story where it makes some sense, particularly from my perspective, as I scored a coup, counted coup this week too.
All right.
We have been trying to get the UQM drivetrain working and ran into a bit that is not such a big deal, but it only existed to shut us out. It has no function in the operation of the inverter.
Right, it doesn't do a thing at all, except you're right, close us out.
I mean, it would be a good place to put a checksum, but that's not what they were doing.
Yes, that's right.
They were actually encrypting a byte so we couldn't make the inverter work.
Right, good place to put up a firewall.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
And what's that about? It's part of this proprietary IP crap to guarantee that they own you and can charge you anything they want for the replacement parts. The problem is the company that was doing this is bankrupt,
Right.
And the guys that bought the car, all 81 of them, are stranded anyway.
Yeah.
And I actually had an email conversation with one of the principals that's still with the company because part of it survived as Coda Energy System.
Yes. Yeah.
And he's like making fun of me. Right. Hey, it's kind of tough tits.
That's right. Tough being you, huh?
Yeah, must suck being you. Why don't you go to UQM and buy some from them? This is a company he screwed out of $15 million.
Right. Right.
Through the bankruptcy courts. Now here we are. We've got these drivetrains. UQM can't do anything with them. They've got $7.9 million worth of inventory that's fixed like this, and they can't give it to somebody else.
Yeah. What would anyone do with it? Yeah.
They're about to introduce a new line of inverters, and they've got it's got to be 1,000 motors and controllers sitting there, and they don't know what to do with it. But they don't want to talk to us because they want to sell to OEMs, which is absurd. Anybody that wants to sell to an OEM doesn't know what selling to an OEM means. We're in the river country here, the middle of America. There are hundreds of companies here that sell to OEMs. I have friends, personal friends, who run businesses that sell to OEMs. I wouldn't be them on a bet. And when I talk to them, they know that they wouldn't be them on a bet.
Right. They just happen to be there.
It's enslavement. It's not, selling to an OEM is not what these clowns think it is. But it doesn't matter to UQM after 10 years of valiant effort. They don't sell to OEMs. They don't have a single OEM of any kind. So on Wednesday, I went into blog rant about this whole situation and suggested the advantage of an open source car. The whole car being open source. And even suggested the formation of a hack team to just pick a car and just pick it to death and open it up and publish everything about it.
Yep.
In spite of them. And this harkens back to some lessons hard learned in previous rodeos. And that I didn't learn the lessons. I observed people lose hundreds of millions of dollars who didn't get it. And people that were really absolute clowns prosper valiantly and heroically, almost undeservedly, because they sort of accidentally did. And let's visit that just a moment. Elon Musk and Steve Jobs. The story of Steve Jobs, now there's a movie, there's a book. They got parts of it right. Sometimes things are not the facts, Nikki. They're the perception of the facts, the analysis of it. Early in the game, they did get their circuit boards made, and they did do an Apple I and an Apple II, and the one bone of contention between Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak was whether or not it would be a closed system and they would have complete control of it, or it would be an open system and anybody could make add-on cards and so forth for it.
Yeah. Peripherals, other items, sure.
Steve Wozniak is a fairly mild personality, but while Steve Jobs waxed poetic in his reality distortion zone, Wozniak turned to him and said no. I think it was the only time.
Was it? That he broke his reality distortion zone.
He just told him no. And Jobs was like, what? And he's like, if you want a computer, it's an open backbone. Or I'm not playing. And you don't know how to do it.
There you go. Yeah, you're
Jobs
the design and marketing
he didn't
guy.
know how to do it.
He's the design and marketing guy. That's right.
Conceded the point. Apple did not take off because of Jobs' remarkable marketing skills. East Coast company developed a software program called VisiCalc. It did 64 cells by 64 cells. You could put any number in the cells and you could associate them and make additions and subtractions, not very advanced associations, but you could sum them and so forth. And then you'd have this spreadsheet. And then if you went back and changed one of the variables that went into the total, the total changed.
Ah, there you go.
In fact, everything that was dependent on that changed instantly. They sold thousands of Apple IIs to people that didn't know and didn't care that it was a personal computer or that it would run another program.
They just wanted that ability to spreadsheet.
They wanted a tabletop spreadsheet.
Yeah.
And everybody that came in their office had to watch the demo of the spreadsheet with their new gadget.
Until they got tired of it and bought
one. But it
one.
was a gadget. They didn't, the PC thing, this was not PC aficionados flocking to the Apple. Apple was kind of pricey for hobbyists.
Yes.
But the VisiCalc guys, it was nothing. It was $3,000 with the software and the hardware and everything, and they were just like, give me 3.
That's right. We need them.
In case one of them fades out.
That's right.
And they sold thousands of these computers based on this program. Meanwhile, later, IBM kind of did the same thing. They introduced a PC and had to face the decision whether or not it should be open. IBM is not an open sharing kind of group.
No, I worked for IBM, not an open sharing kind of group.
Well, their PC group insisted that they could not sell the PC against Apple unless you could develop add-on cards for it, and anybody could develop software for it. They were kind of a rogue group within IBM, and IBM really didn't even think it would.
No,
the PC
never thought it was going to work. No, it didn't matter.
Anyway. It was just kind of so they could claim they were in the space too, knew about it, and were.
On top of the technology.
On top of the technology. And so you used to work for IBM.
I did, and
Is any of this?
That's all true.
And so they came out with IBM PC, and immediately people are writing software programs for it, doing cards for it, cards to hook them up to 8 modems at the same time.
Right.
16 modems on one card, or just different things. Hook them up to blood pressure machines. And, the whole thing. And everybody, both of them set off ecospheres of products that doubled, tripled, and order of magnitude increased their value to the end users because all this stuff was available.
Yeah.
Texas Instruments introduced a computer. You couldn't even publish a software program without sending it to TI, getting it approved, and having it incorporated into a cartridge that plugged into the PC. It was actually a quite capable little microprocessor, by the way. Fast.
Yeah.
And it came and went in a year. And that was a $100 million write-off from TI, who swore never to go near the PC space again.
Never again.
And they have held to that promise.
They have,
$100 million write-down in PCs in 83.
In the 80s,
84 was all the money in the free world.
Yeah, it was.
Bill Gates bought MS-DOS for $50,000.
Yes. Yes.
And the guy thought he had stolen something.
That's right.
The Atari had cartridges.
Yes.
There was no backplane. You couldn't plug in cards, but you couldn't even plug in software. Software came in cartridges, and you plugged it in, and you didn't have to fool with it. It was much simpler. Interestingly, Jobs, one of his jobs to make money was for Nolan Bushnell and Atari.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, he worked for him like a couple of times.
Oh, okay.
And he'd get fired. It's just all over the place. But I think he worked for him a couple of times.
Okay.
There's very few people that even know TI and Atari made a computer.
Right.
Today.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a handful of us left that remember. A year or two later, Steve Jobs introduced the Macintosh without Wozniak. Wozniak was kind of worked out of the deal.
Okay.
And Jobs did that one entirely his way. And it failed horribly. I use the Mac today, but the early Macs did not sell.
No.
They never made a dime on them.
Right.
They were
expensive.
slow,
sell.
stupid, and small,
Yeah.
and weenie.
Yeah.
And then he came out with the Appaloosa.
Mm-hmm.
Again, a closed architecture. Huge flop, $10,000 computer.
Yeah.
They didn't sell enough of them to fill the lobby.
No. No, Lisa came and went quick.
Yeah, came and went quick. So the closed thing didn't quite work out, even for Steve Jobs. It never does. So I did this thing about really railing against the modern cars that are so complex, and I used the Tesla, ironically, as an example. If something goes wrong with that car, what am I going to do with it?
Right. Right.
I am entirely dependent on Tesla to fix it. If they tell me, well, that's not covered by the warranty and it's $42,000, what's my response?
Yeah. Either don't drive the car, brick it, or fix it.
I
Pay
have it cast in bronze and mounted on the front yard.
Yeah.
Or I write them a check.
Yeah.
Who can work on Tesla Model S's except for Tesla?
That's it.
It's entirely proprietary software, and it's mostly software.
Yes.
But this is true of the BMW. This is true of the Cadillac Escalade. Somebody's hacked the Escalade, and I bought a tuner kit from somebody that reverse engineered it.
Right.
Because there's plenty of GMs, a lot of people like to change the way they work and so forth. But I, for one vehicle, I don't even have time to learn the hack tool.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
what are you going to do?
There's thousands of variables in there. So it just doesn't work. In the 1950s, if you bought a car, it was more or less open. It wasn't like open. There was no such thing as open source. But the automakers helped companies publish books on how to repair the cars.
Sure. All the repair manuals, yeah.
The dealers did repair cars, but there were thousands of mechanics, and your ability to get your car repaired was a big deal.
Yes.
And so they wanted people to be able to repair the cars. Now the car is riddled with intellectual property that has to be protected. Now, what would be their purpose, Brian, in having intellectual property in the car that had to be protected?
To keep you from fixing your own car or doing anything with your car.
Why would they care what I did with my car? It's not
really your car.
Well, it isn't. That's the outcome. But their purpose is to gain some sort of competitive edge over the competition.
Yeah.
Now, if all of them have the car all locked up with IP, what's the edge?
There isn't one.
What's the competitive edge? What did they gain?
Nothing. At that point, nothing at all. They're all islands.
So here we are, unable to do anything with our own cars. That diminishes the value of the car to me.
Yeah.
The utility of the car to me. The value of it. The value proposition goes down because it's from BMW and I can't get in it.
It's closed.
We bought a Mini Cooper. We bought a, what was that?
The Quaife differential.
Quaife differential for it. The dealership in St. Louis told us they were not allowed to open the transmission and look in it, much less give us any information about it. And they hadn't changed the part number on the transmission, but they changed the transmission, and the Quaife differential wouldn't even fit it.
No, we still have it.
I still have it.
That's
It's a $1,300 piece. It's a marvel.
Yeah.
Beautiful technology. It does a great thing for the Mini Cooper if you have the right transmission. Send me an email. We've got one.
Yeah, we've got one if you need one. That's right.
So this sort of proprietary, I've sold you the car, but I still own it. That dog really doesn't work for anybody in the game. Now, they're too stupid to understand this. It's not my fault, and I don't mind. But if I'm disadvantaged, I do.
Yeah, right.
And so why would I give them money for a car that I can't do anything with? There's a problem there.
Right, there's a problem.
So I did a big blog on Wednesday that what if you did, as seeking a competitive edge, an open source car. You intentionally built a model of a car, and GM could try this with just one car.
Sure.
One model.
Yeah.
They don't have to do it the whole line. This is an experiment.
Yeah.
What would happen if they just released a car that was entirely open source? All the software is published. The source code's published. Everything about the car you can do yourself. Now, nobody's really going to go duplicate their transmission.
No.
That's not.
Make it in your garage.
They do.
Yeah.
They take, Power Glides and 4L80s and remanufacture them. There's a company called TCI that does this anyway. So if they have intellectual property there, it didn't work very good.
It didn't work, really.
But just open the thing up where anybody can do anything. What would happen? What would happen if the Nissan Leaf was a open source electric car?
You could customize it for your driving habits, your
Well, for one thing,
sensibilities.
they have a 24 kilowatt pack in there. Nikki, did you realize that you only get to use 20 of it?
Yeah, that's true.
No, that's to prolong the life of the batteries,
sure.
which is not a bad mission. But wait a minute, whose batteries are we talking about?
Yeah, you own them. Or at least the bank does.
If I want to go another 15 miles in my Leaf,
Yeah.
why can't I add a mod in the trunk to put more batteries
You
in?
can put in more batteries, yeah.
Well, most people need the trunk. That's why they sold it that way. But I don't.
That's
I'm
right.
different.
That's right.
I don't need a bunch of stuff in the trunk, but it would be nice to have a 100-mile
Yeah,
Leaf.
that's right. Yeah, who needs a back seat?
What if you wanted to race your Leaf?
Sure.
Why can't I put in a bigger motor and transmission, a bigger motor and a different transmission and a bigger inverter?
Sure. Yeah. What fun.
What fun!
That would be a blast.
What if I find turtles annoying and want a real data for my Leaf? And in fact, there's some people that have hacked the Leaf enough to give you a little meter.
Give you a meter,
That,
yeah.
What do you believe what it does? It gives you the actual voltage of the pack.
Wow.
Cunning device.
Isn't that the actual pack voltage? Wow.
Yep, you can read it right off the display.
Isn't that something?
It's modern day marvel.
Make your head blow up.
Yeah, it's just cranial detonations. So I did this big blog about this on Wednesday. Thursday, Brian brings in this sheet of paper he printed out. Let's hear it. Read the proclamation. Hear ye, hear ye.
That's right. Hear ye, a proclamation from our liege king. All our patents are belong to you. By Elon Musk, CEO, June 12th, 2014, year of our Lord. Yesterday, there was a wall of Tesla patents in the lobby of our Palo Alto headquarters. That is no longer the case. They have been removed in the spirit of the open source movement for the advancement of electric vehicle technology. Tesla Motors was created to accelerate the advent of sustainable transport. If we clear a path to the creation of the compelling electric vehicles, but then lay intellectual property landmines behind us to inhibit others, we are acting in a manner contrary to that goal. Tesla will not initiate patent lawsuits against anyone who, in good faith, wants to use our technology. When I started out with my first company, Zip2, I thought patents were a good thing and worked hard to obtain them. And maybe they were good long ago, but too often these days, they serve merely to stifle progress, entrench the positions of giant corporations, and enrich those in the legal profession rather than the actual inventors. After Zip2, when I realized that receiving a patent really just meant that you bought a lottery ticket to a lawsuit, I avoided them whenever possible. At Tesla, however, we felt compelled to create patents out of concern that the big car companies would copy our technology and then use their massive manufacturing, sales, and marketing power to overwhelm Tesla. We couldn't have been more wrong. The unfortunate reality is the opposite. Electric car programs, or programs for any vehicle that doesn't burn hydrocarbons, at the major manufacturers are small to non-existent, constituting an average of far less than 1% of their total vehicle sales. At best, the large automakers are producing electric cars with limited range in limited volume. Some produce no zero-emission cars at all. Given that the annual new vehicle production is approaching 100 million per year and the global fleet is approximately 2 billion cars, it is impossible for Tesla to build electric cars fast enough to address the carbon crisis. By the same token, it means the market is enormous. Our true competition is not the small trickle of non-Tesla electric cars being produced, but rather the enormous flood of gasoline cars pouring out of the world's factories every day. We believe that Tesla, other companies making electric cars, and the world all benefit from a common, rapidly evolving technology platform. Technology leadership is not defined by patents, which history has repeatedly shown to be small protection indeed against a determined competitor, but rather by the ability of the company to attract and motivate the world's most talented engineers. We believe that applying the open source philosophy to our patents will strengthen, rather than diminish, Tesla's position in this regard.
Hear, hear, hear.
Bravo.
No truer words.
Oh, bravo. Bravo, Elon.
All our patent are belong to you.
That's right, man.
Perhaps English is a second language, but no truer words were ever spoken. Show them the plaque. We're going to offer these printed on high-quality parchment, framed for presentation. For what?
We don't know.
$49.95.
$49.95. There you go. $49.95.
Get your copy now. Send Brian an email, and he'll get you a copy of that framed, suitable, not only suitable for framing, but
framed.
already
It'll be done.
Framed and matted and for
the
hanging
whole
on the wall.
enchilada. Yeah.
And that goes on our patent wall
That's
here
right.
at EVTV.
$50. What the hell?
I make light of everything. Guys, I think this is the most brilliant stroke I've ever seen anybody pull off. And the boldest.
It is. Bold and brilliant.
Bold and brilliant.
Should be a soap opera.
I will spend the next 6 shows interpreting what those few words really mean. Because
yes.
There's a lot in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
This guy is brilliant. We're basically turning the Army over to him. He's the new commander-in-chief.
Because it is apparently just him and us.
I'll continue to serve as brigadier, but
That's right.
he's the commander-in-chief. I take the knee, kiss the ring, it's over.
Yeah.
This is brilliant. What he is doing, I have said many times, in technology, the automotive business thinks he's about the automobile industry. This is fatally flawed thinking.
Yes, it is.
It will be the death of them. He's talking about changing the whole game. And what he just said is, y'all ain't even players. You ain't even playing.
That's right. You can't even make a car, sell a car. Some of you don't at all.
You're not a player. Here, you have my patent. It won't matter at all.
That's right.
And I think he's quite sincere. Why should we carve a path through the jungle and then lay landmines to keep others from following? It's a sincere manifesto, but
yeah,
you're not even players.
That's right. That's right.
You get to go sit with the girls and watch. You know, I mean, this is FOAD, bitch. I couldn't have said it better.
Yeah, that's right.
And I did.
That's right. Check the blog.
FOAD, bitch. Go look it up what it means. everyone has. I listened in on the press conference call this morning, and it's they're all about the patents. This is barely about patents. My hope is he knows what open source means,
Yes.
and they don't.
Yes, he does. Yes. Yes.
And his problem is the open source part, not really the patents.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
But I believe he's sincere and will try to do this. And what he's saying is being committed to a company in the furtherance of the accumulation of ducats is a worthy goal for an engineer. Now, here's a worthier one. Let's go change the world.
Right, exactly. Yeah, let's really make electric vehicles and change the world.
And who is going to attract the best and the brightest engineers there?
Well, being in Palo Alto and being open source, I would say Tesla. Yeah. I don't think no one else can do it right now.
It's
no one wants to move to
if
Dearborn.
you're working for somebody else, you're second tier.
Yeah, move to Dearborn. Go ahead.
I mean, yeah. I mean, you're a wannabe.
Yeah.
And that's his bet is, hey, I can do better by attracting the best people.
Sure.
Than you can by attracting the best lawyers.
Right. Yeah.
Now you line up all your freaking lawyers, and I line up all my engineers.
Have a throwdown.
Foad, bitch. FOAD.
It's a throwdown.
And that's the throwdown. So, but from my perspective, if he will follow through on the true open source,
Right.
the man's got Linux in the car.
Yes, exactly.
by
It's
the way.
all ready. Yeah.
Really, given that kind of limited ability to be closed, there are some
running
issues.
Linux. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
But
By virtue of being Linux.
yeah, this is not Berkeley or USD or
Yeah.
this is Linux, and there's some attachments to that.
Sure. Yes.
That you have to kind of
You can kind of play the open source.
got to play anyway.
Yeah.
And so if he'll follow through on the open source, he just doubled the value of my Model S. Instead of being fearful that it'll be a brick, I'm looking for innovators, creators, and entrepreneurs to get me gewgaws and gadgets to work with my car and make it faster, stronger, longer, prettier.
Exactly.
A guy sent me a photo. I'm going to try to dig it out. He bought the Brian Noto bobblehead doll.
That's what you were saying. Yes. I'm ahead by one.
Yeah, right. He's thrilled.
The bobblehead counts out.
He's thrilled because we made 100 of them, and we're not going to make any more.
That's right. No, we're not going to make any more.
The guy making them kind of screwed them up.
Yes, we're not going to make them. Yeah.
But he loves it. But he sends me a photo of a Tesla Model S done in, get this, flat black plasti dip with a red gloss plasti dip Tesla logo on the front.
Oh, the big T. Oh man.
Let me let you guys in on a little secret that'll probably get me in jail, but I don't think I still have a problem with the DOD. You know the stealth fighters? They have a special top secret coating on them to prevent radar imaging.
Yes.
Specially developed just for them.
Yes, that's right. It's like,
and for screwdrivers.
it's like $20,000 a gallon special.
Well, the ones they sell to the government are $19,400 a gallon. You can get it on eBay for about $90, even in glow green.
Any color you want. Huh?
But the flat black is really effective at looking stealthy.
Yes.
And this guy's car is just gorgeous.
Oh man.
I would not believe it. And he says that the paint underneath is then totally preserved because of
because he sealed it. It's like sealing it in Cosmoline or something. Yeah.
Our patent belong to you. And so I am absolutely agog. I think that it's a power demonstration, an absolute power demonstration. And it kind of breaks the ice for the BMWs and the people that want to go into the future of automobiles and not be the stories of the dinosaur companies that were left in the previous century. And the BMW, who, how many times have I said, might be the...
It could be the competitor to Tesla.
Right.
Yeah.
And he's welcoming them to Palo Alto and
just coming into the camp,
sharing stuff.
Yeah.
Join forces. And so I'm looking for good things. I think what he has declared to do, he's going to find logistically difficult to do. They'll be buried with requests for information and stuff. He needs a technical publication group to help him out his own company.
That's right.
He really does. I'm busy, Elon. I am the best, but I got both hands full. But you need a technical publication group to help you manage the. I would just sell it. I want your code for your inverter and motor, but you can't stop and have operators standing by for that. You have to outsource that to a company that will basically publish it and give you a cut of the action.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Sell it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
And so just set it up where I can buy your source code for your inverter for $650, and
at least
a nuisance fee.
Done with it. Right, exactly.
And,
just to keep somebody away, a lot of people away. Yeah.
Right, and then you get some money from it.
Yeah, get a little bit of. Yep.
And let them publish each aspect that anyone's interested in. And so your engineering has to brief them, make a few things available to them. They write it up and put it in a package and sell it, and you get half the money or a third of the money, or whatever you want. And that's the publishing process. Yeah. And so that's, I think you'll logistically find it difficult to deal with.
With a flood of inquiries. Yeah.
But the sentiment and the value of the car, my value proposition was weak on a Tesla Model S at $107,000. It really isn't. It's a non-starter. All of a sudden, I'm maybe not.
Maybe not. That's right.
And so that's that.
How cool.
That's the news.
And that will start the show.
We're an hour into it. So I got an email from somebody on YouTube that my show was too long and that I should make a much shorter show.
Oh, for somebody on YouTube?
What kind of advice is that? You, the viewer, are in full control. You can watch as much of it as you want, as little of it as you want, and at any playback speed. I don't get to even vote on any of this. Yeah. Why do you think you get to vote on how much I put into the show?
You can always listen to it at 2x.
Yeah. No, a lot of people do. 2 or 3x.
Yeah, exactly.
I hear that all the time. Yeah. I'm not offended. It's your TV, your computer.
That's right.
Again, this is my intellectual property, but your TV.
That's right.
Do whatever you want. Take my advice. Do whatever you want to with it.
That's right. Open TV.
Let's go to Europe and hear from Anna Klippenberg.
All right.
Well, hey, EVTV. Here's Anna Klippenberg with the weekly EVTV Amsterdam update. This week, I'm sitting in a water-spattered Delta. She's back at the shop, but she's been out. And we finally got to do some of that extensive testing we've been looking forward to. I say testing, I mean we finally had some fun in the sun with this vehicle that we spent so much time and effort on. It ain't even funny anymore. So it's really great when you get to take her out and have some good times. Starting with water skiing. may not be the most water ski suited boat in the world. For her length, it's hard to even take the skis out with you. We need to get some suction cup deal on the back so we can strap stuff and take it with us, something like that. But for me, I got into this whole electric game because when I saw the Tesla Roadster in 2008, I figured, hey, if they can do that with a sports car, I should be able to go water skiing electric style. So let's see how it works out with the Delta. Well, it's that rare Dutch occurrence where a fine day overlaps with the actual time to enjoy it, go out, have some fun in the sun. EV shop is a whole lot of building and not that much boating. But today we will be out and we've got the water skis. Ray's all kitted out. I've got my life jacket. So we're gonna go have a little fun in the sun, see if we can get some good footage of what this boat's got in store. And should be fun. Let's go see. Well, water skiing. Ramming, back at the jetty. That was fun. Definitely had a good time. She pulls like a champ, and if I was better at water skiing, I'm sure she could do solo skier and slalom as well. So we'll have to find someone this summer to demonstrate such, or I'll have to spend a lot of hours and see if I can get up on a solo ski. Well, it wasn't all just goofing around and playing. We needed to get some more confirmation that this system can take the beating that's out there, both in the, on the waves, but also in, the high acceleration, putting the amp through, not getting too hot, keeping up on the performance. That means that we had to do some extended runs in different circumstances and see how she performed. I have some raw footage of that I'd like to share with you, but a warning in advance, if you're not into experimental electric watercraft, the next 4 minutes is some boring-ass video. Well, there you have it. Delta out on the water near Eiburg in Amsterdam, performing really well, as we hoped she would. And I'm getting quite a constant 22 to 27 kilowatts for 40 kilometers an hour. Now, that doesn't sound very constant, but the variable is really the kind of water you're moving through and the kind of wind conditions. So I think it's kind of when you have current with and wind with, or at least not against, then we're on the lower half of that scale, so the 22 to 25 kilowatts. If you're moving through some chop, you've got some current against, and you're possibly going into the wind, now we're looking at about 26, 27 kilowatts for 40 kilometers an hour. Now, 40 kilometers an hour is 25 miles an hour, and it's the great planing cruising speed for this boat. It feels like that zone where the amount of power going in is most efficiently put into speed. There's hardly any vibrations anywhere. So anyways, it's really the zone, and it would, once again, allow me to cross the English Channel within the hour. If I do get that whole project together, we should be working on that a little more. So that's this week with the Delta. A couple of weeks from now, the Delta will be our main exhibit, actually our only exhibit because the booth's not so big, at another boat show. The Electric and Hybrid Marine Expo will be in Amsterdam 24, 25, and 26th of June. If it's a public, no, not a public, it's a business-to-business trade show, but that does mean basically free admission if you register in time. Anybody in this neck of the woods or interested in coming over, you could go and find it online, the Electric and Hybrid Marine Expo, and you could register and take a look at what the newest stuff is in EV land as it comes to boats, large and small. Small in our case, but high power. So we have a drivetrain now that can definitely power the larger diesel offerings as well. Hey, that's enough for EVTV Amsterdam on the boat side. Next week, we should finally get back, not one, not two, but 3 drivetrains that we've had out for form and fitment. 2 for the car project sitting right behind me. Both the 818 and the Jeep are receiving a Siemens motor now mated to a coupler and adapter plate with clutch setups so that they can be bolted back into the respective chassis and make these 2 home bodies here that I've been having cluttering up the shop, making them, slightly rollable and, pop in some cells in a controller. Who knows, we can get something moving out of here. So that'll be really cool. At the same time, we should also be getting back the Warp, now mated to a Hearth marine reverse system that I introduced, a good 6-7 weeks ago. I was going to get her back in 2 weeks. Anyways, we're going to keep building. I hope you all are building. We're having lots of fun. See you next week. Bye-bye.
I like that little boat.
Are we on to something with these boats?
Yeah, the boats are, I like that little boat.
And I got to tell you, Anna, if I was young and pretty like you, I'd probably like to ski too.
Yeah.
Here's a little problem. We're EVTV, and so are you. We do things like watching paint dry. Here, I've got a form I want you to fill out, and that is your voltage and your current at 5 kilometers an hour. And then I want 10 kilometers an hour. Then 15 kilometers an hour. This is, I know it's boring. 20 kilometers per hour, your voltage and your current. 25 kilometers per hour, your voltage and your current. 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, and 60 if it'll do it.
If it'll do it.
Send it to me. Your big brother will take care of the light work and draw the graph for you, which is your speed versus power, essentially your drag curve. Mm-hmm. And we will put that up on the screen for you. That way, when we do ours,
yes,
better, with lighter batteries and a different motor, we can do the same graph, and we can overlay them.
Yeah.
And who knows, maybe you win.
It'll be fun.
It's quite possible. Speaking of boats, guess what I had show up today?
What?
Das Boot. Let's take a look.
All right.
So, Brain, I'm thinking they ought to be here. I'd like to see a boat today.
Yeah, I mean, we've been out here for 2.5 hours, Jack.
Yeah,
and
I know.
I haven't seen a thing.
Yeah, if only a boat would come along.
It would be a miracle.
It would.
What's that?
You know, this Friday the 13th stuff is working out for me. I don't know what everybody whines about.
Look at a boat. All we had to do
boat.
is conjure one up.
Come on
Oh,
in.
look at that. What is that?
Das Boot. Looks like it's hardly
Wow.
been in the water.
It looks brand new. It's going into the shop. Hope he can get out.
Oh, check out this thing.
Oh my goodness. Wow. How cool.
How cool is that?
Nice.
Atlanta Boat Works, Aristocraft.
Nice rear end, and I
Holy
mean the
smoke.
boat.
Yeah, nice rear end.
And I
the boat.
I mean the boat.
Check it out.
There. Wow.
It's amazing.
It is.
It is beautiful.
Yeah, and did you come all the way up from Georgia today? Wow.
Yeah, we're just outside of Atlanta.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
I have the seat in the cab here.
Oh, okay, good. So I don't have to sit on a wooden seat? Great, I won't get a splinter. This really is gorgeous.
This box
Everywhere we
belongs to
went
you guys.
before, just taking pictures.
It already steers. Wow. This is going to be electric.
Electric?
Yeah.
All right.
We're going to put an electric motor and batteries in it.
How long will that take you?
That's an interesting.
Yeah, we don't know.
That is the paperwork.
Okay.
Ah, cool.
That belongs to you guys.
That is nice.
Thanks for the invoice and everything.
Cool.
All right. We'll probably need that to
Yeah, better hand over to the
license the trailer
consigliere.
or something.
Yes.
So forth. Wow, that is pretty delightful. It's roomier up here than I thought.
Yeah, there's actually not bad. It's a lot of room. And this is what, a 16 foot?
I think
Yeah.
so.
I think so. That's good. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes, this is very pretty.
A little bit of rain this morning.
I'm hesitant to put it
It'll
in
get
water.
wet.
We may just have to run that on the trailer.
Yes, exactly.
It really is.
Now, if you get electric motor, where will it go?
Yeah. I guess wherever I want it to. That's the cop here stopped the gal with the in her car, and he saw on the computer she had a carry permit. He said, "Ma'am, do you have any guns in the car with you?" She says, "Yeah, I got a .357 in the glove box and a Walther's .38 here in the console, and I've got a 22 caliber in my purse and a 10 gauge shotgun in the back window." He said, "Lady, what are you afraid of?" She said, "Not a goddamn thing."
That's for sure.
Not a goddamn thing.
That's the engine compartment.
Yes. Oh, I like the way they did that.
That's the first time I've seen it here today.
What the heck?
A little bit of rainwater.
Yeah.
It's been raining here 4 times a day till today.
That's the way it's been in Georgia too.
Yeah, lots of thunderstorms.
And I don't mean it's been overcast and raining 4 times. It's raining like crazy, and then it's completely clear, and then it's raining again, and then it's completely clear. We've had a team in here installing solar this week on the roof, and it's about drove them crazy.
I was gonna say that's probably been a chore for them.
Uh-huh. It really has been. Holy smoke.
I love this.
Wow.
Good in the back of it.
My battery boxes will fit right in the side. I can't believe it. This is going to be probably the easiest conversion we've ever done.
Really?
We do cars.
Probably, yeah, cars are a little more difficult than this.
And that's the engine in that car there? Or?
Yeah, that's an electric motor. This one has an engine, that's next. That one's electric. Everything
The motor we're going to use is over there.
that Escalade outside is electric, the EXT.
Oh my goodness. I can't even see it. Where's our little step ladder? Ah. Wow, this is a work of art.
I know.
No, but Jack
I
will.
will tell you,
No.
the
Do you leave it in the car?
short right here.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't realize until I got down the road. Somebody said it was dragging because it was only
Where is that ladder?
it's only that short, it's tight. So it did rub a little bit right there. On that right there. But that's the only.
That's not it. We have a little wooden. There it is, right here.
I mean, the lights work.
Yeah,
still
it
work
fits
there.
under there. That's all. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, perfect. Thanks. Yeah, looks really nice. There, found it.
There we go. Aristocraft boats actually date back to just after the Second World War. Claude Turner returned from military service to find the job market for returning servicemen discouraging. He started a small boat company in downtown Atlanta he called, appropriately enough, the Atlanta Boat Works. With 5 employees, their original product was a small open fishing boat. But in 1946, he introduced the Typhoon, a 12-foot, 2-seater runabout that was an immediate hit. He followed with a 13-foot barrel stern he called the Torpedo. Both proved popular sellers. In the 1950s, Aristocraft produced small boats for companies such as Western Auto and Montgomery Ward's that were renamed the Wizard and the Sea King. The company actually produced over 20,000 boats, and they were even featured by toy manufacturers. The Aladdin Thermos Company featured one on a lunchbox design, and the Haji Toy Company of Japan marketed toy boats featuring the Aristocraft design. The Atlanta Boat Works continued in operation until Claude Turner's retirement in 1980. Today, an Aristocraft museum remains featuring one of every model boat produced, along with the memorabilia and other items. Claude's son, Bill Turner, owns the collection. Today, a group is reproducing the 1956 version of both the Typhoon and Torpedo. They're being recreated using the original jigs. A 12-foot Typhoon and the larger 14 and 16-foot torpedoes are still steady sellers and always head turners at any water venue where they appear. They're most commonly featured with a small outboard motor. This model was especially constructed for us with an inboard jet pump out of a jet ski for propulsion. We think the smaller volume and weight of the new CAM 72 lithium-ionic cells paired with a UQM Power Phase 100 motor will take this particular boat into an entirely new uncharted area of performance and range, unlike any electric boat previously built anywhere. The jet pump allows quiet operation and excellent maneuverability in very shallow waters. It's not the most efficient driver. We're going to lose a little bit range by using a jet, but I think there's some serious advantages from having it, and with regards to sound, vibration, and the ability to maneuver. The new battery cells simply allow us to put more batteries in less space and less weight. The 100 kilowatt Power Phase 100 is our lightest electric motor at 90 pounds, while providing a peak power about 4 times higher than this boat could normally be expected to use. On its Delta runs best at about 25 kilowatts, and we think this one will be quite similar, perhaps even a lower level, but we'll have 100 kilowatts if we want to punch it, flip the boat, and spill me into the water. Ergo, we'll be wearing life jackets. Actually, it hasn't shown up today. We're filming about, what is it, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock?
Oh, God, it's got to be 6.
30 minutes it should arrive.
30 minutes.
Maybe an hour.
In fact, we need to move.
Recall, if you will, last year about this time I declared for solar.
Yes.
And that we should have a 25 kilowatt solar installation, taking advantage of the Missouri public law that requires Ameren UE to foist off on me a fat $2 for every DC watt I install up to 25 kilowatts. It is a year later, and things have moved slowly, but not too bad here recently. Let's take a look at what's happening on my roof, Big Bad Wolf. Okay. All right, Edwin. Well, it looks like we're getting pretty close to the end. Is this thing about installulated?
Yeah, it's looking great. The installation is looking great.
Good. You guys were up on the roof. Today is Friday, the June 13th, and so I'm not going to get up on the roof. But tell us a little bit about what you've got up there. What's on my roof now?
Well, we installed 80 305-watt solar panels on Dynarack's whole staging system, and they're weighted down with some small concrete cap blocks. And we've got the whole system laid out, pretty much covering this whole roof area, and it's going to be generating 24.4 kW.
All right. The roof has a little bit of a pitch to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, you got an extra 4 degrees pitch in your roof. So with the Dynaracks 10 degree, you're up to 14 degree pitch, and you're just about south. So you're a little bit west of south. You're at 194 degrees.
Okay, great. Well, that sounds good. So we've got 80. What are those? Rena-Solar, is it?
Rena-Solar.
305 watts.
Yes.
About 15% efficient.
Yes.
Excellent. And these things have, I was I go back and forth on this microinverter thing, in phase, but now there's actually 4 or 5 companies that do those.
Right.
Different ones. Either they didn't have much of a patent, or it failed in court because it hadn't been 17 years. But now there's a bunch of people doing those. But we're using optimizers. How does that operate, and what's the purpose?
They are similar in effect because the microinverters take the MPT tracking to the panel level, but also the optimizers do the same thing, only it's only DC. So if there's any shading on a particular panel, that used to bring the whole string voltage down. But now with the optimizers, the string voltage it holds at about 360 volts, no matter what the individual panel is doing, and only the wattage of that panel is affected.
Oh, okay. So we'd still get 360 volts. We'd lose a little bit of power because that panel's out.
Yes, just that panel.
So the MPPT is actually in the optimizers?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Maximum power point tracking is kind of an important aspect of solar installations. These panels will list a open circuit voltage, that's their top voltage, and a short circuit current, which is like into a dead short.
Right.
Between that is a variety of sins. You can load that panel at any current level you want between the short circuit and the open circuit. And but at different current levels, it'll exhibit a different voltage. If you measure that a couple hundred times a second and sort of move it around, you can find the maximum power point. And so they'll actually adjust the load on the panel to give you the maximum voltage at a maximum current for the maximum power.
Right.
And that can be what, 10% up to 30% more efficiency than if you don't have MPPT.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
And so you're actually kind of modulating each panel, which its output's going to vary by sunlight, right?
Yes, actually, it's quite significant, though, shading on a panel, because 2% shading can cost you up to 30% of a power loss with, without your MPT on at the panel.
But this is kind of a dynamic thing.
Yes,
even just the sunlight exposure.
Yes,
will vary in intensity depending on cloud cover, humidity, so on and so forth. So this MPPT is dynamic. This happens a couple hundred times a second, and it actually tracks this and will raise and lower the current load to change the voltage. And power is voltage times current, so they can actually very quickly seek to the maximum power point. That's why they call it maximum power point tracking.
Yes.
And so that's kind of an important feature. The microinverters do that per panel. We use centralized inverters. These are each 5 kilowatt, what are these, Solar Edge inverters, and they're nice, and I like that. But with the optimizers, we get the advantage of the panel by panel MPPT, just as if we use the microinverters.
Yes.
And so that you wind up with things split up a little differently, but the same concept. So what do we have here with our inverters? We've got 5 of them.
Yes, so we have 80 solar panels on the roof, and our strings are 16 solar panels each.
Okay.
So a total of 8.
So just a little under 5 kilowatts, 16 panels in each circuit.
Each circuit, 4.88. Each string of 16 panels will come to one inverter, and they work independently, and they go separately, individually to their own circuit breaker at the panel level.
Our panels are going to come in here?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. The DC voltage will come in here.
And we'll have a different set of conduits.
Yeah.
Behind?
Yes, come behind.
Okay, so those will come in here.
Correct.
And we have 2 pins for each kind of clinch pins. When you push that button and then it'll release it on the wire.
You can have up to 2 strings on this bus bar.
So after you and Emmer and UE and everybody goes home, I've got 1 string and I have a place where another tap could conceivably be made to get DC 360 volts.
Correct.
And that would be cool.
Yeah.
Now, what happens if I tie all those together?
If you tie all those 360 volts together?
Yeah, we have 5 strings of 16, each putting out 360 volts DC, but they vary a little bit. What if I tied them all to the same 2 studs? Do I blow them up?
Well, the thing about the optimizers, they also incorporate a safety feature that unless they have the signal from the inverter, that they are only outputting 1 volt.
Okay.
So so instead of me running that string of 16 solar panels put together, which would be 800 volts DC, I only
in parallel.
No, the strings are running in series, and so the voltage is just keep building and building. So the old string inverters without the optimizers were actually quite dangerous because, well, they would only usually use accept a voltage of about 150 volts. Some of the newer ones now can go up to 450, 500 volts in your string. So you could have 10 solar panels tied together and have 500 volts at the end of that string, which is quite dangerous to work with.
But right now you have 16 panels in series.
Yes.
And so you have a positive and negative coming
Yes.
down. That's 360 volts.
Yeah.
Now, if I take the positive and negative from one 16 string, I tie the positive to the positive of the next 16 string, and the negative to the negative of the next 16 string, I still have 360 volts.
That should work.
And twice the current.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I'm just asking.
Okay. I think that's right.
All right. And so then this device, of course, has the DC in and then puts an AC out. That depends on the phase and frequency of our grid. Actually, if we lose our grid, it won't put anything out.
Correct. Correct.
And that comes out here and joins this conduit. And that comes down to this panel here. And where does it go?
This panel goes to an external disconnect outside that has to be located within 4 feet of the meter base for Ameren's purposes.
Okay, so we can disconnect the AC output of this whole rig outside the building.
Right.
And this panel puts each circuit. Let's see.
Yes.
What have I got?
5? You have 5 30 amp, 240 volt circuits.
Okay.
220.
5 30 amp, 240s, and that goes out to a disconnect. And then where does it go from the disconnect?
To the meter base.
To the meter base.
Yeah.
So what's all this for?
I'm not real sure why they did your electric guys did that.
So you don't know why we did it?
I'm not
sure. It comes in
Jack.
here, it goes back out, and it goes to this panel. What the hell's going on here?
All I wanted was this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And
so
this comes in over there, but I think this is where they did the tap. Ameren required us to put a tap at the meter base, and I think instead of powering us down at the meter, I think that they did something, did a tap right here, is what I think. I'm not master electrician.
We're going to have to talk to Ron about that.
Okay. Yeah.
I think I bought a whole bunch of stuff I didn't want or need.
Big box, yeah.
I wonder how that happens. All right, so we have 5 30 amp, 240 volt AC circuits as really the culmination of our solar system.
Yes.
And that goes out to the meter base through a disconnect to the meter base.
Correct.
And actually comes right back into the building in our regular, to our regular panels and so forth. So we're using our solar during the day, and if we're making more than we're using, it feeds back out to the grid.
Exactly.
All the neighbors get to use.
Right. Their lights are brighter.
Missouri is a net metering state, so I get to run my meter backwards, basically to zero. From there, we get a whopping 1.75 cents, the avoided production cost for the electrical power. So they're charging 8.2 cents and they're paying me 1.75. It's good work if you can get it. I've always wanted to be a utility company or a government. Either one would work. But so again, Edwin, you're like a little more extreme than we are. You're not connected to the grid, are you?
No, I'm off grid with 24 panels and a wind generator. Right.
So 24 panels, what size panels do you use?
They're just 230s. I think I'm running 5.6 kW.
So you're kind of playing the other end of being energy efficient. See, we're
Yes.
energy squanderers.
Yeah,
We like lots of electricity.
Right. Most of my power goes in just maintaining the batteries. You'll get like, you'll probably see, with this 14-degree tilt, I would say probably 85% of your power, max power at midsummer. Whereas my system, it's an older, big inverter. It was like 500-pound thing to set up. I probably get about 60% actually to the house, but you know, stored.
So we're rated at 24.4, and we could realistically get 80% of that.
I believe so. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that as AC.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Whatever.
That
your
includes all the
inverters-
losses through the inverters.
Yes.
and everything.
Yes.
Okay. And so that sounds pretty good to me.
Great.
So thanks for coming out and putting it in, and we're pleased to have it. It's when we start this in October.
Yeah.
Here it is,
it's been
June
a long-
13th, Friday the 13th.
long
Be real
process.
careful with your final things today. What you have to do.
Right.
So,
Right.
it's
A very
like one of
zen.
those days.
Yeah, a very zen friend of mine said, even if it's the very last board that you cut your thumb off, you still cut your fucking thumb off.
That's right. Well, and as we say here, we got a whole pile of boards that are almost the right length.
All right.
Stay with us.
Making electric boats isn't just making boats cleaner, it's making boats better. Being out in an electric boat means you can enjoy the environment you're in. You are so much more immersed in the sound and the experience of the aquatic life, of the water, of the wind, than you would otherwise be. And it really gives you a new level of understanding and enjoyment of that generally beautiful nature area you've gone into to enjoy yourself. What an electric motor does is that it gives you all this power in a vibrationless, soundless way. A well-thought-out, well-designed system has 100% of the torque available all the time. You don't have to build up to it, you have it. So when you pump the throttle, you are out there and your whole shot is amazing. It takes your center of gravity right out from under you, and it gives people that what they call the EV grin. You just start laughing, you can't help it. You're so conditioned to think that you first need vibration, then need noise, and then you start going somewhere. And in this case, your center of gravity just shoots right out from under you. And it's a wonderful feeling. You can still talk to each other. You're hearing the sound of the water and the wind and the waves instead of just hearing engine noise and vibrations. And it gives you really a chance to be in tune with that nature that you're actually out there to enjoy. Plus, not having to visit the pump is actually a great thing. Your battery will eat electricity from any source that you provide. I mean, who loves sitting around on your knees with a jerry can? We have better control over the boat. We have a better experience while we're out driving. Plus, we also have the knowledge that we're part of new technology. It is just way cool. Our mission is to make beautiful, fast, and fun electric boats. There's nothing more fun than taking these new technological developments and putting them into classic designs and having people shoot away with a big smile and an EV grin.
We got it. And it rained the first 2 days of this week, too.
It's rained 4 times a day, every day.
I know. It's been crazy.
And we're under a deadline that we started this in October,
Yeah.
and I have to have it completed by the end of June to get the money.
Right. To get the full stipend.
And it is Friday, June 13th.
13th.
This is Friday the 13th, and things go bad.
It
on
is.
those
It's
days.
Friday the 13th. Yes.
Tesla is actually kind of quietly offering to give people hardware to put a Tesla-style charge station,
Oh,
a regular charge station,
yeah.
at their business or their donut shop or something like that for the convenience of the Model S owners.
Okay.
I have contacted them, but my request is I do want the hardware, but I want the fast charge hardware.
Yeah, where we are, that could be a big deal.
Well, but I now have a 24.4 kilowatt solar thing. I could, in fact, do a battery bank.
Sure.
And we can power the damn thing. And they have nothing even scheduled between St. Louis and Memphis.
Ooh.
Memphis is 162 miles that way,
Yeah.
and St. Louis is 120 miles that way. What's that add up to?
That's 280, and that's not quite.
You know, my Model S, in reality, just won't quite do that
No.
at 70 mile an hour.
No, it just won't do it.
It'll do about 260.
Yeah.
And so we would propose Cape Girardeau, Missouri, to be a intermediary thing, and we would host that charging station here at our location and make available free power from the sun to drive it.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're sincere about wanting to extend that network, and from what I understand, they're running into a lot of this. The reason the supercharger stations are going up so fast and costing Tesla so little is people are giving them locations.
Oh, okay.
All over the country.
Just to have, just to have the.
We got a big fat blob in the middle of the country here on Interstate 55, and there's nothing here.
No.
We'll take it.
Yeah.
And so that's the offer. I don't know if I can. Maybe I'll call Anthony Bagnulo.
Yes, somebody can help us out.
He
That's right.
was an intern. That works
Yes,
at
see
Tesla.
what Anthony's doing.
Yeah, see what Anthony's doing. And
Hopefully,
if
after
he can,
just mentioned his name, he still has a job.
yeah, right.
Please, it's okay. No, we don't know him.
Yeah, no, we didn't know him.
He's never been associated with us.
We are along the way of charge stations, EVSE. We don't normally talk about that a whole lot. We normally talk about equipping your car to take advantage of SAE, J1772. We finally added a charge station to the store, but not by accident, and rather by design.
No, it's
Let's take a look.
Yep.
Hello. Let's talk a little bit about electric vehicle support equipment, EVSE. This is what you use to charge your car, but it's not a charger. The charger is in your car. This is a charging station, and we haven't talked a whole lot about EVSE. It's readily available, actually in hardware stores now, with the J1772 connector, and I use a GE Watt station at home. They're about $1,000. We do sell and talk about the installation of J1772 charge ports on your car, and Dave Kurzels from Modular Power does our billet aluminum charge ports, and a little device called an AVC2, which does the proximity and co-pilot, and even has a little relay that you can use to signal your inverter or whatever that you're charging, that you install on your car. And we've had a lot of success with that. We've never talked a whole lot about the charge stations. They basically take 240 volts AC from your house or your garage and do the logic to do the proximity and co-pilot for your SAE standard J1772 connection for 240 volts AC charging. We like the SAE standard, and we've adopted it and encouraged all you to, largely, and since we mostly charge at home, because the connector is simply more robust. We did a number of things with NEMA connectors and so forth on home builds, and what we found was they're just not robust enough. You're plugging it in and unplugging it every day, and they physically come apart. And so rarely would we get one last but 6 months. These are designed for 50,000 insertions life. I don't think they'll make 50,000, but they make it past 6 months. In fact, we haven't had to replace one. So We haven't talked a whole lot about the EVSE. David Kurzel does do a system. We've installed them in gas pumps, sort of simulated gas pumps with the circuitry in it and so forth to do a charge station, I suppose. But we haven't offered any commercial electric vehicle support equipment, mostly because we haven't seen anything we like better than the Watt station, and you can get that at Lowe's. And so I haven't fooled with it very much. Valerie Mitsakov of Electric Motor Works does some work with chargers and instrumentation and so forth. We haven't carried their products in the past. They have been a little bit immature, but I do like what they've done with the juice box. This was a crowd-funded development that to make a charge station, and a lot of people got involved in that don't build their own EVS vehicles, but had a Leaf or something and wanted to be able to charge it. I think he's put together a nice package. It has some features that I like that are a little bit more interesting than what you get with GE Watt Station or your hardware store J1772. We have picked up the first 10 of them, and we're able to offer them at $795, which is considerably less than what I paid for the GE Watt Station. And it has some very good features, I think. It comes with a nice cord. This is a NEMA 14-50 that'll work in any RV park or whatever. We've got it plugged into a box we have here with a NEMA 1450 connector. You could cut that off and hardwire it into something. I would recommend not put it in a box and plug it in, because this thing is really small enough that you could carry it in the trunk and plug it in at an RV park and do your J1772 charging anyway. It has an Arduino in it and a little tiny display, which isn't very big, but it does the job. And you do your data entry with this little fob. It has 4 buttons on it, A, B, C, and D, and he puts little menu items on here. Our version, we only carry one version of what he does. He's got all kinds of different things. This is their premium deluxe assembled with everything. And that's what I wanted to carry. And everything includes wireless. And one of the things you do is just press B from the main screen, and you get a little blinking red light here while it associates itself with your wireless hub. And that uses the, was it WPS? It's almost all the modern wireless hubs will do that now, and just simply associates a peripheral to your own wireless network. This will report data to his web server. That's kind of curious, but why would I care? You get on his web server, you have to get a huge long ID number off of here, write it down, and you go and get on his web server and enter it, and you can see charge data from all your charge sessions maintained graphically on his web server. And so that's a nice feature. This will do 60 amps, which is quite a bit more than even my Watt station is basically 30 amps. I put a couple of 45 amp fuses in it and it works fine. It hadn't burned anything down. But this is actually designed to do 15 kilowatts, 60 amps at either 120 or 240. It comes with a very good quality charge cable that's actually 25 feet. And I like having a long cable. We can coil it up on this hook and not use it, but sometimes the car's a little far away. It even has a little rubber dust cap that goes over it. That's fine. And your button, proximity button. And so, but this cable, they used to rate these for 70 amps. It's UL rated for 50 amps. I'm not sure. This is some sort of a regulatory issue, but that cable, we've used it at over 80 amps, these cables, and they work fine. The two cables have a great little high-quality metal, what do you call it, bring the gland nut on there. Has a little display. There's an Arduino inside. The hardware is open source, and the software is too. So you can revise this to show anything you want and operate any way you want to with the code from the Arduino. More to the point, you could change the way the wireless reports to his website and have it report to your website if you want. That seemed important to me at first. Actually, one website to another website on the web is a distance of about 1 click, so who cares? He's got it going into his. As long as he keeps it up, that's fine. It'll display a lot of things, the time, how many kilowatt hours is charged, the voltage, the current while you charge. But it can also, you can set a clock in it, or it can get time over the internet and set the clock that way. And you can set this up to only charge between certain hours. This week in the state of Minnesota, for example, they announced a requirement that all for-profit utilities in the state have to offer a EV rate on electrical power that's used outside of the hours of 4 to 8 p.m., their prime time. And other states have different off-peak situations where you can get a much reduced rate if you charge, after 10 p.m. and before 6 a.m. This EVSE will let you set up those times. You plug in your car, and it will only charge when it's during that time. So it'll wait until you get to an off-peak situation, then charge your car, and so forth. So that's a very nice feature to save you some significant ducats if you're in an area that has a variable rate by time. So I kind of like this thing. We can offer it for somewhat less than they're commonly available in the hardware store. It has, it's open source. It has some features that I think you'd find of an advantage, and it's heavy duty. These are heavy cables. The inside wiring is pretty heavy, and it can actually do 60 amps. But in the meantime, I think this represents a good value proposition at $795, and it's everything that you can get on his website, all put together. And there's typically 3 or 4 week wait through them. We have 10 of them in stock and can get them to you right away. And so that's the Juice Box open source level 2 EV charging station. Valerie Mitskov and Electric Motor Works. And it's the first one of their products we're actually going to carry in the store. We'll see how that goes.
The challenge of securing bolts has been around for as long as there has been a need to bolt things together. Along the way, plenty of ideas evolved to make sure parts held together, no matter how high or how big or how extreme our inventions got. And we've seen some interesting innovations. 30 years ago, when Nordlock launched what's proven to be the world's most secure washer, the possibilities expanded for what we could design and accomplish. Now, just imagine, we've made it twice as good. Get ready for a new evolution in bolt security. Nuts and bolts are an unbeatable combination, offering great holding power while still being easy to dismantle. The downside with bolts is they can loosen unintentionally. Critical fasteners that have not been properly secured can have catastrophic consequences in terms of safety as well as costly downtime. Loosening problems get more and more challenging due to new technologies and market demands, from thick surface coatings for corrosion protection to advances in sandwich composite technology. And these are just 2 examples of many. Technically, bolts fail for two reasons: spontaneous bolt loosening and slackening. Spontaneous bolt loosening occurs due to vibrations or dynamic loads. Any movement between the clamped parts jeopardizes the bolted joint. Let's see what happens to an unsecured bolt when exposed to vibration. We tighten to a clamp load of 20 kilonewtons. The bolt starts to loosen, and the clamp load drops significantly. The other reason bolts loosen is slackening. The development of new materials and techniques has made slackening a serious problem due to settlement and relaxation. Let's see what happens to an unsecured bolt in static conditions. When bolting materials together, the pressure will cause any irregularities on the surfaces to begin flattening immediately, with significant settlement happening within the first hours after tightening. This results in a loss of preload. Certain materials that are susceptible to settlement, such as soft metals, composites and polymers, are becoming more common in application design. Solutions currently available on the market focus on only one of the two critical loosening factors, meaning none is successful in counteracting both factors at once. And so, designers are faced with the challenge of figuring out which factor, spontaneous bolt loosening or slackening, will have the biggest effect on the joint, and choosing a solution to handle that one problem. It is a difficult compromise to make, especially when both can cause application failure. This is no longer a problem. Now, you can count on one solution to meet all your bolt securing needs. Utilizing a unique multifunctional design, Nord-Lock X series washers offer the highest security against both spontaneous bolt loosening and slackening. You no longer have to compromise on bolt security for your critical joints. Nord-Lock X series is a unique solution in bolt securing. By combining Nord-Lock's unrivaled wedge effect to prevent the bolt from rotating loose, with an exceptional spring effect to compensate for loss of preload due to slackening, Nord-Lock X series washers give you total security for those situations in which there can be no compromise. Let's take a closer look at how it works. Upon tightening, the washers flatten and the serrations engage the contact surfaces. Since the cam angle alpha is greater than the thread pitch beta, the wedge locking effect will prevent any rotation of the fastener. Directly after tightening, the joint settles and the fastener sinks into the surface material. The washers immediately deflect and the elastic reserve counteracts slackening, thereby preventing loss of preload on the joint. These multiple functions continuously act on the bolted joint to maintain preload and prevent spontaneous bolt loosening, serving as an effective solution for vibration, dynamic loads, settlement, and relaxation. This means you can use one solution for all your bolt securing needs and decrease your inventory. Whenever you're not sure which loosening problem will have a bigger effect, or simply don't want to take any risks in your bolt design, Nord-Lock X series will keep you and your investments safe. Today, there are solutions available to handle mainly one of the reasons for bolt loosening, but none capable of securing both. Let's look at some examples. All bolted joints have a functional preload range in which the joint is safe. If the preload is too high, yielding occurs. If it is too low, there is separation or sliding between the parts. To see how different products function in various circumstances, we look at two phases: a static phase, when settlement happens, and a dynamic phase, when vibration is added and the fastener may rotate. We start with a bolt secured with a traditional split ring. The split ring counteracts settlement, but not vibration, so the bolt will likely rotate loose when exposed to vibration. The serrated spring washer is an attempt to counter both settlement and dynamic loads. It does a fair job countering settlement, but when also exposed to vibration, the bolt may rotate loose. Other products have the opposite problem. Adhesive is commonly used against vibration. However, in the static phase, the joint will lose its preload, and with vibration added, will risk loosening. The Nord-Lock original washer was never designed to counteract settlement, but until now, it has been the best solution to prevent the bolt from rotating loose. Now, Nord-Lock X Series washers give you the unique benefit of preventing loosening, regardless of whether the bolt is affected by settlement or vibration. Nord-Lock X Series counters each challenge in a unique, multifunctional way. It is the only product on the market that can secure bolts from both critical loosening factors at once. Serious problems start as soon as a bolted joint falls outside the functional preload range. Only Nord-Lock X Series keeps you within the optimal limits. That truly is bolt security without compromise. When you choose Nord-Lock X Series, you can rest assured your bolt system will stay secure. You also get the benefit of a professional partner. Our global team of experts works closely together with our customers to solve their toughest bolting challenges. With Nord-Lock, you also get quality in every detail. Our state-of-the-art products have been manufactured in northern Sweden since 1982, with a proven record of excellence. When you choose Nord-Lock X Series, you select the world's most effective bolt security, without compromise.
It's wireless.
Yeah.
It does time of day.
It's pretty cool.
And it's pretty stout.
Yeah.
It'll do 60 amps.
Yeah.
And he's doing quality hoses. And
Yeah, it all looked good. Yeah, the cables looked good. Everything looked good. It was compact.
It's got kind of a weenie Arduino in it that makes it sort of slow to react to the thing.
Yeah.
But
that's okay. And we don't want you guys to get anything from us that you can get at Home Depot or Lowe's. We want you to get the cool thing.
hardware-wise, let's pay for our stuff. We got to talk about our products, so you'll order them, and so we can keep doing this. And that's going pretty well. I want to thank you all.
Yeah,
You have
thank
been
you.
very supportive. We have received from Mr. Hetu Chen. I didn't think this could be done. He did. So I ordered a couple thousand of them. We'll try it. This is a 25 millimeter version of our braided battery strap. It's a reduced cross section from 50 square millimeters to 35.
All right.
And that reduces its current carrying capabilities. But these smaller batteries and higher voltages we're dealing with now, we're usually at 300 amps
Right,
or 400,
300 or 400 amps,
instead
yeah.
of 1,000. And so I think these work very well. This is 4 of our CAM 72s strapped up with the, these are M8 12 millimeters with the Nord-Locks and the straps. And that's the size of a 12-volt battery circa June 2014 at EVTV, a 72 amp hour 12-volt battery.
Yeah.
And so that's what you're looking at. I had a guy contact this who had scleroma or something, some sort of disease that had disabled him, and he had a wheelchair that his lead-acid batteries were about gone, and he wanted to know about lithiums, and I told him a little bit about them, and he wanted to know about the price, and I think it was, he needed 16 of them. It was about $2,700.
Okay.
And I told him about the price. He said, that's very expensive. I said, sir, it is. But I want you to be very careful with it, because your wheelchair will probably do 0 to 60 in about 3.9.
World's fastest
When you
wheelchair.
pull that lead out
That's right.
and put this lithium in there, and you don't ever have to buy another battery. And he bought them the same day.
Wow. Cool.
And so this is an advance. I think it's going to make boats particularly adroit on the water in a way that electric boats have simply never been done by anybody previously, because of their reduced volumetric size and their reduced gravimetric.
The gravimetric, that's right, the weight and volume, yeah.
And
nice.
to couple that with a 100 kilowatt electric motor to do a 25 kilowatt job.
Yeah.
And properly cool that, and I still have to find, I want to put in external heat exchangers. They have through-hull heat exchangers for boats.
Oh, really?
I don't have to engineer this.
Okay.
These are available.
Okay.
And they hang out in the water, and then the connections come through the hull.
They have little inlets and outlets.
And you pump your coolant through those, and it's actually cooled by the water on the outside of the boat.
Yeah, that makes it easy.
It makes it easy.
Yeah.
And
any tanks and things.
So we're going to do some of that with both of our boats. As you saw, hopefully you saw, the arrival of the Aristocraft Torpedo 16, but we're also supposed to be do our version of the Delta.
Of the Delta, yeah.
And I'm thinking about leaving the Delta in Amsterdam.
Okay.
And sending him some diagrams and equipment to and have him do the build.
Okay, Ivana do the build. Okay.
Now, why would I do that? Other than he does, he works quickly.
Yeah.
We're
Yes.
kind of backed up.
Yeah.
He works very quickly and does beautiful work.
Yeah. Great
but
work.
imagine if you would, next week, and I want all of you European viewers to show up for this. They have a boat show on the 24th through the 27th in Amsterdam.
Yes.
And Anna will be appearing there. We're going to announce today that Jack and Brian would be on hand to meet all our European viewers at the boat show. And I was kind of excited about this. It's logistically a little difficult. Why is that, Brian?
My passport's expired.
Yeah, he's only had 10 months to work on this since we first talked about it. But
and in the meantime, my passport expired.
So
and we have 8 days to get ready, and you can't do it.
We can't get it done in 8
can't get it
days.
done.
However,
It is my fault.
it's okay because it probably gives rise to a better opportunity. I'm so taken with Anna's channel crossing thing that I want to arrive before he does.
Okay, yeah.
But what that means is I can't do it the way Anna has. We have to have a big send-off.
Yes, on the
On
continent, yes.
the continent.
Yes.
And I have to have a pretty big reception in
Yes, that's
the
right.
cliffs of Dover.
That's right.
I can't just slide in here.
Yeah, that's
I
right,
noticed.
that night, yeah.
And so we're going to work toward this and promote it as kind of an EVCon Europe. And maybe have 2 little red boats crossing the channel.
That would be cool.
Wouldn't it?
Yeah, with 2 different powertrain designs, and yeah, that'd be cool.
As retribution for his faux pas about the passport, Ryan's been tasked with a very low-fee rental of an aircraft carrier and video equipment.
That's right.
So that we can get maximum mileage
That's
out
right.
of
So
this
we can have a blast
with
That's
our quadricopter video
That's right.
and
Quadricopter following
and
us.
cameras akimbo to heavily film this event and have a going away party. I suppose from Calais or where's he planning on
I don't know where
launching
he's planning with.
and then another one in the UK for our arrival with lots of alcohol because we like to have a little drink, play with some high voltage, and go for a drive, or in this case, a motorboat.
Go for a boat. Go for a boating.
That's all going to happen. Let me talk about my wrenches because we got our ratchet ones in. Remember,
Yes,
we
that's right, we did
added
this week,
the
yeah.
WEHA open-end wrenches.
Yes.
We only carry them in 2 sizes, 10 and 13 millimeter, and that's because 13 millimeter is the size of the M8
For the
bolts
M8 bolts, yeah.
in our larger batteries, and 10 millimeters is the size of our M6 bolt heads on the smaller batteries. And you can just lay this on here and ratchet it around. What am I on about the insulated tools? The batteries have gotten smaller. They're busier. There's more stuff going on up here, and it's real easy to get across them. In fact, you need to start paying some attention when we get down to here. It's the bigger batteries are actually just easier to do and be safe, and you get away with stuff. I drop stuff all the time, and nothing happens. And we get down, we got too much going on here and too little of space. If you're in a battery box, this starts to get to be ugly.
There's not a lot of room.
So we're starting to offer some insulated tools, and this puppy, you turn it one way and it tightens, and you turn it, flip it over the other way, and it loosens, and it's 1 kilovolt insulated all the way across, and you can't screw this up. And so we've got those in the store. We're not doing a whole set of wrenches. They're 10s and they're 13s. And if you'll get those, they'll stand out. Don't get a whole set and have to dig through them. This on your cart will stand out as your battery wrench. And that's the design.
Yep, that's the beauty of that. Yep.
I told you about Jenison last week. My brother has just gone berserk with the 48-volt lithium battery in his EasyGo. And so what he wants, though, is a solar golf roof.
Okay.
And I've put pencil to paper. We don't normally do this stuff with an electric car because you can't do enough energy to make a difference. However, in a light golf cart, this thing kind of inverts. Let's see. We're talking 48 volts, really about 51. And in this case, times 72 amp hours. And we are actually upgrading our 48-volt battery to use these cells to be about an inch smaller all the way around on our 48-volt battery. That's 3,672 watt hours. One of my 180 things in a 4-hour round would be, in theory, a maximum of 720.
Okay. Yeah.
You divide that out, the 3,600, and that's about 20%.
Okay. Yeah.
So we can extend this pack range by 20% in a round of golf, as long as you're not playing in the rain.
Yeah, right.
And it takes you 4 hours to do 18 holes.
4-hour round, yeah.
And so it almost does make sense. Jenison, recall some fascination with this device. It charges to 56.8 volts, and it'll do it from a lower voltage, meaning one panel can be used to charge a 48-volt battery. There is not a second device that does that. Actually, there is, but it's also a Jenison. It's potted and weatherproof for golf carts.
Okay.
But they only sell them for lead-acid batteries because nobody uses lithium batteries in golf carts. Yeah. So I contacted them and asked them if they would build me some, and they said, yeah, but we'd have to take 100 of them, and here was the price. And he kind of chuckled, pretty sure that I'd go away. And my response to him was, put me down for 100. And
have you heard from him?
Let me know when they're ready to go. And so we're going to actually probably, instead of selling the panels, we're probably going to just mount them on the golf cart roofs.
Yeah, we're playing with that right now.
And we're looking at that. But this will be part of it, but in the weatherproof version. And so that's some product development we're doing. Brian has reminded me this week that we're about broke and that we need money.
That's what the consigliere is there for.
And so that's I don't shirk. If the problem's been elevated to my level, we'll take care of it. We need your support, and we do that by supporting you. Our Siemens motor and DMOC 645 controller has worked out very well on the thing, and I'm very happy.
It really is really cool
with the JevQ. That motor, normally, I'm selling that for $3,495. That DMOC 645 is $29.95. $34.95, $29.95, and we get a smooth $5.95 for my
For the JevQ. Yeah.
JevQ. And let's $5.95 plus $2.995 plus $3,495. That's a smooth $7,085. And we like that, and we want you to send it in. And I will send you a Siemens 1PV 5135 motor, a Azure Dynamics, a DMOC, Digital Motor Controller is what that stands for, 645, and our generalized electric vehicle control unit with software preloaded and a wiring cable.
It was a wiring
assembly,
harness,
to hook it right up. And I'd love it if you'd send me $7,085, and we would accept it. But I'm going to give you the option this time to instead send me $3,600, and we will do it for that too. So you can pick. Go ahead and send me the $7,085, and I will cash the check, I promise, promptly. But if you send me $3,600 instead, I'll take it in good faith and good spirits and not whine. And I will still send you the motor and the controller and the JevQ. Now, you need to be one of the first 10.
Okay.
I'll do 10 of them this week.
Okay.
And it's got to be by Friday noon.
All right.
And that's the deal. And if that would raise me $70,850, I think you'd be fixed.
I'd be happy.
I would say that there's probably a good chance that it'd be more like $36,000.
They might not do that. You guys are pretty bright. We have the brightest viewers in the
You
in the
never
world.
know.
That's right.
But that's all part of our internet price match guarantee, and that's kind of how it works.
Yeah.
You can't actually give it away fast enough, Brian.
No, can't. Look at Elon Musk and his open source.
Well, I'm so inspired.
That's it. That's exactly it.
By
Yes.
Elon Musk and his
I thought he went crazy. He's just
proclamation.
inspired.
I almost had a heart attack when I read this thing. I'm so inspired that we're going to slash the price of this in half for 10 units in the next week, by Friday next week, and see if anybody cares.
All right. Only you will know.
One-time good deal.
Yep.
No dealers.
No dealers.
With that, if I had the appropriate music, I could go outside and greet our boat guy.
Then, Maestro, play on.
Let there be.
Let there be tunes.
Let there be tunes.
We'll see you next week.
Stay with us.